If you'll recall, Donald ran for office in 2024 on a platform of bringing down costs, increasing jobs and wages for working Americans. He made a very, very big deal about all of that. So, how's it going? How is all of that working out for us? Well, every word Donald said about accomplishing those things was a lie. Not only a lie, but he has, in fact, been doing everything in his power to make the already obscenely wealthy even richer at American workers' expense. Today, we're going to dive into some of the evidence for that, and there's a lot of it. A recent article by Center for American Progress's Corey Husak reports that Donald's one big, beautiful bill, combined with his 2025 tariff hikes, will reduce after tax incomes for 99% of Americans by 2027. It will leave only the top 1% of American earners better off. Yeah, because they really need the help. Even worse, middle income households with an average income of about $109,000 are projected to lose roughly $1,300 per year due to higher consumption costs caused by tariffs. These losses will outweigh any modest gains offered by the bill's tax relief. The poorest 20% of Americans will, as always, be hit the hardest, losing an estimated $1,650 or 3.4% of their incomes by 2027. On the other hand, the wealthiest 1% will see a net gain of around $5,000, which would make a big difference for the average American, but for them is barely a rounding error. And all of that is thanks to the tax breaks that will surpass their tariff costs. How do Republicans go about selling Donald's oligarchic agenda? Well, with a lot of smarmy misinformation and misdirection. Take a look at this recent statement by Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
Mr. President, a new report came out last month detailing who benefits from the working families tax relief that Republicans enacted in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And here's what they found. Americans in every county in America will see tax relief from this bill. Let me say that again. Americans in every county in America will see tax relief from this bill.
You can say that as many times as you want, but it doesn't mean what you want us to think it means. Notice how carefully Thune worded that statement. Quote, Americans in every county in America will see tax relief in this bill, unquote. He fails to mention which Americans exactly will see that tax relief, which Americans will be left behind completely, because the likelihood is there is at least one obscenely wealthy American in every American county. Donald, which was the plan all along, despite our inability as a people to recognize it, was to benefit the wealthiest among us, himself, his corrupt family, and his corrupt friends. American workers are paying the price, and they will continue to do so as the billionaires among us become even richer. Before we go on, we must refuse to normalize Donald's cronyism. So please like and share this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Donald has absolutely no interest in helping working families. We know this, or at least we should, because he's demonstrated that time and time again over the last decade. Instead, he's working overtime to protect the interests of the richest 1% of Americans and big wealthy corporations. The New York Times' Jesse Drucker reports the Trump regime is dismantling IRS efforts to crack down on tax shelters used by major corporations and the very wealthy. They're making these rollbacks after receiving pressure from industry groups, right-wing activists, and even congressional Republicans. This action will undo rules introduced by the Biden administration that required companies to disclose these tax maneuvers. The IRS's enforcement campaign was projected to raise over $100 billion over the course of a decade. All of that money is going away now. These crackdowns were targeting basis shifting. That's a strategy that allows companies repeatedly to generate new tax deductions without enacting new spending. Firms like Occidental Petroleum and AT&T have used such schemes to lower their effective tax rates dramatically. Under the Trump regime's anti-worker policies, the richest Americans have many reasons to celebrate. Donald often brags about his pro-big oil energy policies. Just take a look at this speech he delivered at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland back in January.
I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet.
He is such a compelling and eloquent speaker, isn't he? What he does not say there is that he's pushing these policies because he's been bribed by rich oil executives. The Wall Street Journal's Benoit Morin and Josh Dawsey report that Donald's return to the White House has brought about huge policy wins for the oil and gas industry, whose executives donated heavily to Donald's campaign. Since taking office, he's opened federal lands and waters to drilling. He's revived stalled pipeline and LNG export projects and rolled back environmental regulations, including efforts to curb greenhouse gas emissions. First of all, the big abominable bill and subsidies for electric vehicles. They weren't mandates, they were simply incentives for people to buy electric cars. The bill also provides tax breaks for oil and gas companies. It restricts clean energy projects. Oil executives get unprecedented access to the administration, with many top donors and former industry heads acting as advisors and cabinet members. This is bribery, plain and simple. Do we seriously not think that Donald Trump is for sale, that he is not capable of taking a bribe to enrich himself and his corrupt family? Of course he is. That's what's happening here. And it is always, always going to be at the cost of American jobs, American wages, and American workers. Please take a second and like and share this video. Be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating, because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.